welcome in everybody. Today I want to take a look at the new NES Pop Report that just dropped from WATA, which is updated now as of March 1st, 2022. The old Pop Report we had was from November 13th, 2021. So we now have 4 full months of data to look at and see how the NES Pop Reports have changed. I have some nice data to present to you, so make sure to pay attention, and if you like this kind of video, make sure to hit the like button. It does take a while to do this stuff, so it really helps out. Thank you to every single Patreon who supports the channel, and let's do this. So just looking at the far right here, this is now the number of total NES games graded on the Pop Report, which is 10,319, which, since the old Pop Report dropped, is an additional 2,400 games now graded. Which maybe that sounds like a lot to you, 2,400 new games in 4 months, but remember there are almost 800 different NES games that you can submit, which would mean that the Pop Report of every single game went up by 3 over the past 4 months, but obviously that's not how it's actually going to work, and we'll talk about which games went up the most in just a little bit here. But 2,400 new games added to the Pop Report over a 4-month period. This bottom row that's highlighted now shows the distribution of the new games added. We actually did have one new WATA 10 join the NES ranks, which is actually Wolverine right here. Wolverine has a WATA 10 floating around somewhere out there. That's really cool. Otherwise, the most common grades that were added to the Pop Report were 9.4 by quite a bit actually, 9.6, 8.5, and 9.2. Now, I was actually a bit surprised to see that 9.4 remains by far the most common grade on the NES Pop Report. It comprises 21.4% of the entire Pop Report. Also a bit surprising was that we had so many new 9.6s join the Pop Report. The overall number of 9.6 went up almost by a full percentage, which might not seem like much, but you can see that only 8.5 and 9.6 jumped by a significant amount, where everything else was a 0.14% change, 0.3% change. Some of these ones down here actually represent less of the total number graded now because so few of them were sent in. So seeing the 8.5 and the 9.6 jump by almost 1% each is significant. I would love to know where all of these 9.6s are coming from. I don't know if these are just old submissions that are now working their way through the backlog and getting their way into people's hands. I don't know if these are new submissions now of people who are trying to get in a bit late on the rush. It's really hard to say, but I am surprised to see so many 9.6s show up. And as you can see, the 9.8 actually did fall by 0.61%. Only 88 new ones joined the population, which brings the overall representation of 9.8s down to less than 6% of every NES game graded. Of course, we don't have seal grades yet, so that's going to further separate things, but even so, getting the 9.8 on NES at this point in time with everything submitted happens about 6% of the time. It will be very interesting to see how often the 9.8 A++ happens relative to other seal grades as well. 9.4 remains the most common grade by about 7.5% here, which is also pretty insane. I did say it before in our first Pop Report analysis video on the NES system, which you can see, link in the description, that I do think the average game is going to drop in grade as we go further out. I think there are going to be less near mint examples going off for grading, and that the averages will go down. However, as you can see, the weighted average of the game did go up to about an 8.9 right now. 8.9 is the average game that exists for NES, so if you want to be above average with NES, you have to basically have a 9.2. If you want to be special in NES, you really should go for the 9.698. Of course, this is game dependent. There's more analysis to do with that, but if you're just looking at a random NES game, you might want to try and get at least a 9 or 9.2 based on the data we have so far. And yeah, that actually brings the average up by 0.13, which again is just insane to me, but it's because we had so many 9.2s, 9.4s, and 9.6s join the Pop Report compared to less than 6.5, 6.5, 7s, and 7.5s. And until it does become worth grading these lower tier games more often, we probably won't see the average grade drop significantly. But still, I feel it's very interesting to see that the games still coming out of WATA, still being submitted to WATA, are of very good quality for the most part. Going over to the Pop Zero NES games, these were all of the games that were not graded as of November 2021. You can see that the games that still do remain ungraded: Best of the Best Championship, Casino Kid 2, Pro Sport Hockey, Uncharted Waters, Magician, World Championship Racing, Nigel Mansell, Bubble Bath Babes, of course, Double Strike, Crazy Creatures, Mermaids of Atlantis, Peekaboo Poker, of course, and Ultimate League Soccer. 8 of these games did have some sent in, and the most of them was Round Ball 2-on-2. I do expect to see every single one of these games filled in on the Pop Report eventually here. I did did think that seeing that these were Pop Zero games would incentivize people to send them off, but I guess we're still just waiting for it. And interestingly, we did actually see the only graded Last Action Hero go up for auction at Heritage last weekend, and it sold for, I believe, $7,000. So I have to assume people are looking at the Pop Report, using the Pop Report to make decisions. Make sure you are as well. And then the last bit of data I have for you guys, and maybe this is what some of you care about the most, this shows which games actually had the most pop added from the old Pop Report to the new Pop Report. So at the very top here, we have Kirby's Adventure, which actually added 78 to the Pop Report, but all they did was add the Canadian prints to the Pop. And the data I do have here is thanks to Discord member Timothy J for helping me out with this. I do just want to shout out him as well. Of course, the games with the most population report added are some of the most popular games on the system, some of the best-selling games on the system. At the top here, we have Mario Bros. 3 with 54 added, Legend of Zelda 36, Zelda 2 30, Dr. Mario 29, Dragon Warrior 26, Mario Bros. 2 26, Wario's Woods 26, and Super Mario Bros. 25. Really, these shouldn't surprise anyone. These are some of the best-selling games on the system. A lot of these do also have easier to obtain prints. So on Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, Dragon Warrior, Mario Bros. 2, there's a later print run that's easier to find that is likely the one adding to the population report far more than the earlier prints. That's why it's always good to seek out the earliest print if you can, the rarest print if you can. It just does help isolate you when the pop reports we know are going to continue to grow into the future. Ninja Turtles continues to be very popular. Monopoly is a bit surprising there with 16 new ones added to the pop report. Everyone's sending in their Monopolies, I guess. John Elway Quarterback also saw 13 new ones added here with a bit of that sports hype. Of all of the games on here though, there are only about 40 that saw over 10 added to any single population. After that, every single game is 9 or below for the number of copies added. And like I said, we're talking 4 months here. So if in 4 months, 10 new copies of any single game get added, for some games, that might be a lot of population. If we're talking about more unpopular games, like Flight of the Intruder, adding 6 every 4 months might be pretty meaningful. However, if we're talking about Double Dragon and we're talking about 6 new ones every 4 months, that doesn't really matter because Double Dragon is one of the most popular games on NES. There's a ton of people who want to own one. And then coming down here, we have about 170 games who remained with their population reports unchanged. All of these ones had 0 added to the report. And of course, a lot of these are going to be rare games like Muscle, we have Mock Rider, Mighty Final Fight, Moon Ranger, a lot of games where you would expect that they are just simply rare. If you made it through this whole presentation of numbers, I will reward you with this little visualization graph so you can see the breakdown with a picture. So you can easily see how much higher 9.4 is than any other grade, as well as 9.2, 9.6, and 8.5 being extremely popular. I would have personally expected the bell curve to be closer to the 8.5 and kind of coming down at the 9 level, but as you can see right now, we are curving upwards big time at 9.4 and coming down as we go into 9.6, 9.8. It's going to be very interesting to see how this goes as we continue. Hopefully the next time this happens, pop reports will be dynamic, not static, and we can just watch it upgrade daily as any other pop report does. More pop report analysis videos are coming. Subscribe if you want to see them. Hit the like button on the way out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.